and welcome to a special event, if I can call it that. Of course, the TNR boys, First Night Racing, teaming up with a couple of guys in other leagues, and they came together for a 3-hour endurance race. Of course, qualifying practice is already on the way. Just under 12 minutes to go. So qualifying practice, not a real train smash for the guys, it's just to get that last minute practice in. Then there will be a short break in between, and then the 3-hour race will start. That's pretty much around 4:30 South African time, which is pretty much in about 20 or so minutes. Of course, the full Le Mans layout as we know it. Of course, something different today for me is the race director, of course, director suite. Normally I do broadcast and I have a co-commentator that will do all of this. Unfortunately, I don't have that luxury today, all me, so I have to do both. So I do apologize for the extra displays on the screen. It's not something I can minimize or get out of the way, as I need it also to change between the cars and the camera angles, etc. And of course, on the other bright side is it's actually giving you a race feed as well, which is normally not seen on the broadcaster side, but the director can actually see that. Of course, you just see things popping up here like Barbluxen making a pit stop, Chen there, the invalidated lap. So yeah, so we'll keep it like that. So, but we can still see the cars at least. And we will change camera angles and stuff as well, just to have a look. Of course, 3 classes being run this afternoon: LMP1s, LMP2s and GTE cars. So here we can just cycle between all the cars, and then below there we can change the views and of course cameras as well. Just want to drive on board here to just give everybody a feel of it. Of course, this is what it looks like on the inside of those cars, for those who haven't experienced it yet. This corner, if you don't get your braking spot on, that corner can actually catch you out, and that barrier is not that far. Not a huge run-off area there, taking consideration the speed that you carry, of course with that straight leading to that corner. Nesmax at the moment with the fastest time, a 3:26. Still up there, of course, in the Audi. 2 Audis there running side by side for a moment. Of course, I must say this is one of my favorite cars. Love the LMP1s, even the LMP2s. Especially when it comes to Le Mans. Of course, just showing you some of the GTE. Ideally, what the guys did was to have 5 cars in 3 different classes: LMP1, LMP2 and GTE. We've actually got 16 drivers on the grid today, which is actually a first for us at TNR. Normally we have to follow up with AI. Looking what's happening elsewhere on the track. Must say I like the color scheme of this car. One thing again I must give to the creators of this game, the car sounds and stuff is so real. So if I go silent, of course, I'm just appreciating that noise. Sometimes it's just nice to sit back, stay quiet, and just enjoy the racing. But some of these guys can actually race, and they do put up a good show. Of course, if you look at it on the left, only 6 cars have set a time so far, and just a little over 5 minutes to go. Seeing what Gaffbeek is up to. Oh, runs very wide. Because this is a bit of a tricky section. If you get it wrong on the entry, you can have it wrong through that entire section. Of course, weather and stuff, just to let you guys know, it will be, of course, dynamic weather. So there's going to be weather changes. There's at least some patches of it. It's actually a day-night day race as well. So you will see it gets darker. Later guys will have to switch on lights, and of course if you crash and you bump out your lights, yeah, ever so difficult. And I hope some of the guys also assigned their wiper controls. Because Gaffbeek didn't do a lot of practice, so he's trying to get the feel for it. Yeah, and decided now abandon this lap, into the pits he goes. But judge in a Porsche. Gaffbeek actually had that lap time invalidated, that's why he jumped into the pits. Dirk Racing, that's the fastest guy at the moment. 3 minutes 18, all 8 seconds ahead of Nismax. Of course, also an Audi. Of course, doesn't matter who sets the fastest lap. At the end of the day, they can actually start in the classes. So who's the fastest in that class will obviously be in the call it the pole if you want, for that class. Of course, the LMP1 cars will line up first, LMP2, and then the GTEs. There we go. Second place man now is Eleanor Stickman. Went all faster than Nesmax as well, 4 seconds sweep off the pace of Dirk. Nesmax currently in third. Of course we got Chin currently in the pits, occupying fourth. Not Sebastian, we're in fifth. I'm not sure if these guys are too serious about the times they're posting. After all, it's just a bit of practice. When the race is what matters. Chirito man there. Of course, this is where the LMP2 starts, if I'm not mistaken. Eleanor Barbliksem. Again, I must say, I love the colors. It almost looks like the Renault Racing, the color scheme that you see on the F1 cars, the yellow and black. We got Raptor in 8th, of course also LMP2. Marius B70 in the pits, of course, currently at 9th. Qualifying is officially over. It's waiting for everybody to finish the laps they are on. Good Perry's there, and 10th. Interpret Strike in 11th. 41 seconds off, of course, this is GTE class. Of course, GTEs are slower than those LMP1s, and as I said, I don't think a lot of the guys are taking it too serious. They don't want to really go nail it for that pole. It's just really after the actual race, because 3 hours is going to be about endurance. Who's going to stay patient, who's going to move at the right time, and actually who's still in the race when comes the checkered flag. Because you don't win endurance racing to the first corner, but you sure as hell can lose it. Gav Peak in 13th and Devon in 14th. Those two guys haven't set any times yet. Dev, of course, will not set one. He's still in the pits. Gav Peak is out on track. So moving Audi there. LMP1 getting out of the way. Driving on the grass to make sure that Gav Peak's getting enough space, and now Gav Peak slows down. Or it's just a matter that he also decided now he's not going to continue further. He's going to make his way to the pit. Also going slow now. Also not a clear view of the map, so it's pointless showing you the map. Just a quick update with timings, but that's pretty much what you can see on the left as well. No penalty showing. Yeah, Gav Peak is indeed into the pit. Eleanor Barbliksem still out there, him and the judge. And meantime, Dirk Racing did go faster even, 3 minutes 16. Okay, just a correction there, not Sebastian, is also an LMP2. So it's just the top 4 that's LMP8, well, which is obviously LMP1. Not Sebastian there is actually the leader of LMP2. Right, there we go, just confirmation of what I just said. Of course, the color coding there shows you that. Dirk, of course, Stickman, Nismax and Chen being the LMP1s. with Not Sebastian, Jerito Man, Eleanor, Bob Lixum and Raptor in the LMP2s. And then pretty much everyone else in GTEs. Marius, Berries, Interpret Striker, the Judge, Gav Peak and Devon. And just correction, I said earlier 16, but it looks like it's actually just 14 drivers that's going to be here. So 4 LMP1s and then of course 4 LMP2s and then there is 6 GTEs. Of course there's just going to be a small break here, just waiting for everybody to do their final preparations, have a quick smoke break, etc. Then the race will be underway. So just bear with us, there's going to be a bit of silence for now, but the race will start shortly. Okay, and we are back. As you can see, the counter started top. Of course, it doesn't mean that it's race time and stuff. Obviously, that will reset to the regional time once everybody is ready. So it's just waiting for everybody to finalize strategies, etc., and then we will be going. Yeah, I must say, definitely the same way as you guys there. Thanks to Sarku, Midwick, LNR, all the guys who teamed up to make this happen. And we did lose Raptor, unfortunately, so the LMP2 is down to 3. So the 6 GTEs and of course the 4 LMP1s. Of course, Raptor left, of course, got kicked or whatever happened with connection, and yeah, obviously not a very happy chap. He was looking forward to this. I would feel the same, because endurance race is also one of my favorite things. Today, obviously, the first time I'm streaming one of him. Yeah, it would have been broadcaster and director, two different people controlling, because then you wouldn't have seen all of this extra stuff here on the stream. But unfortunately, don't have a data tonight. Here we go, Ray obviously starting a rolling start. That's why they're starting before the start finish line. So it's just rolling. Oh, and some of the guys already a bit rough there, and looks like penalties happening. And here we go, time is officially started counting down. We are racing. Oh wow, not sure if that lag or it's actually Jack that went off the track there. Stickman second, Nismax there in third, Chen fourth still. It looks like those LMP1 cars all got away clean. And look at the timings, a couple of guys got penalties there we go, just confirmation. Nismax and Chen, both 5-second penalties, and Devon there as well, also 5 seconds. Of course, that is just that start where everybody started going sideways, looked like we're crashing out. So that was all. Jerito Mon, the first of the LMP2 cars, not Sebastian, just right behind him. And not Sebastian come flying past him. But of course, just gonna just leave it at that. Riding on board, here we go. Just gonna have a look on the inside, of course. Out racing there. Going back here, here we go. Not so. Must say the LMP2 guys are already much racier than those LMP1s. Although, looks like Stickman is, well, I was closing the gap, but now the gap actually opened up to over. Obviously running away at the front at the moment. Would be interesting to see some of the guys actually have the pace to keep up with him and take the fight to him. Mario is currently first of GTE cars. Yep. In his Aston. Yellow light. Followed by Barry's. At the moment, very third in that class is Interpret Striker. gaff pick. And we've got the judge. Close. Because these two always battle. They know each other's racing styles by now. Always close together on track. Thursday night racing, of course, we had. We literally recently finished a season of 10 races. 2 of those were. Guys have a good understanding. They know each other definitely. So, kind of like knowing what to expect and reacting to the situation before it even happens. Ooh, no, that doesn't look good there. Looks like that car. Yeah, there we go, LNR, here we go, bar bliksem. Looks like there's definitely some damage on that car. Going very slow. Obviously on his way back to the pit. Maybe a small mistake there that saw some damage. But he's going very, very slow. Normally it takes several shunts to give you massive damage to the point where your engine gets damaged where you go this slow. But yet also looking at the footage, it doesn't look like there's damage on the car, but of course, as we've seen before, what we see here is not necessarily what they see. Sometimes we see damage when there's no damage, or in this case we see no damage when there might be. Whichever it is, he actually did manage to get it to the pits coming in. Just following here just to see if we can pick up something here. Of course, it's only 8 minutes into the race, still plenty of time. Of course, it's only 3 hours, but still fatigue sets in, guys lose concentration. It's not all over yet, like I said at the beginning. It's what matters is who's there at the end, that's when you get the points. Okay, took a bit of fuel there. Changing tires as well. Into a pit, you might as well just do all of that. Try to stretch your stints now. Okay, looks like some repairs are being done, although you can't see it from this angle. Stationary. It's already 4 minutes behind, so the pack is going to come past him. Will be lapped. It looks like there's definitely some damage there. We go, just getting back to the front man guy. Here comes Dirk. Going around the final corners, he's going to come past the pit lane now. Alan R. Stigman, closely followed by Nismax. Looks like Botha Bliksem did make his way out. Yes, there we go. Some distance away, of course, in the Toyota. Some distance away. 56 seconds, of course, between those two. Sorry, 26 seconds. That's obviously the gap that he's got to Dirk, of course, race leader to him. Not Sebastian leading LMP2s now. Chirita Man is in the pit. So that will promote. Mario is actually running in 6 with the GTE. So the GTE cars are now really amongst those LMP2 cars. Because there's Berries as well. Turbo Striker as well. Chirita Man LMP2 in the pit. Of course, is also in the GTE, so is the Judge. Devon as well. Of course, Botha is there at the end. Chirita Man is now just, well, yeah, second from last. Botha there in last position, right amongst those LMP1 cars being lapped here. Chirita Man, of course, is just in front of him. Of course, if I say just, actually with some distance. Then it's actually the bunch of cars. Over there, and of course, then we got not Sebastian. And then, of course, the 4 LMP1 cars still in it. Of course, missing the 1 LMP2 car, which is Raptor, who disconnected just before the start. So it's only LMP2 cars, of course. Botha, Chirita Man, and of course not Sebastian. Chen falling further back there to Nismax. Nismax, of course, trying to keep up there with Stigman. Of course, gap is just still opening up. Jock still getting away. Gap now 9, well, pretty much 9, just under 9 seconds. Sorry, seconds of 9 seconds, pretty much. Of course, anything can happen in endurance racing. It usually does. Still early days. Only 11 minutes in. Okay, just getting back in front quickly. Having a lonely race, if I can call it that. Gap is now touching 10 seconds. That's Max and Sigmund, of course, there's only 3 seconds there. Nice shot there just to show you the distance there between the second and third place. Chen also a bit lonely, well, definitely lonely. Look at the gap in front of him and the gap behind him. Not so bad. Leading LMP2 at the moment. Gav Peaks also in the also putted. Just looking at the feed there on the far right of the screen. Of course, sorry, that can actually be a feed from still from the quali, so because I don't recall seeing them actually in the picture, because also showing where that Stigman was, but Stigman definitely up. Otherwise that gap wouldn't have been 11 seconds. Marder's still going strong, but Barry's him. Jerry's, of course, Barry's got intrepid striker also to worry about. Then a couple of seconds back, there's Gavpeak. Oh, Gavpeak goes off, misses braking spot completely and had to run straight. Surely that's to come past. And Jeritamon, of course, Jeritamon a much faster car here. LMP2 versus GTE. There we go. Just getting some slipstream here. Moving on to the inside, can he outbrake the peak? Yes, he does. Well done, Judge. Nicely done. Didn't get it too hasty. Waited for the right opportunity. You could see braking, let it go a little bit, braking more, but he still outbraked the peak. The peak not that confident with his car at the moment. But he's staying there with the Judge now. He's got the slipstream now. Can he do something inside? No, not this time at least. Unless he goes serious dive bombing, but then he's going to jeopardize both of them. Because wide. You can see the Judge just in front of him, Devon a second behind. Devon keeping relatively up to him. It's not like that they're pulling away from. Of course, if you're patient, you save your fuel, stretch your strategy, your stints. Surely there's still places to be made later. Of course, we're only 16 minutes in. Although Botha has got a dismal race. Now you can clearly see damage on that car. Not looks like, but well, I'm gonna say it. Guys might disagree. They might scold me for it, but it looks like almost like a rage quit type of situation. The way that car went sideways from the one entrance to the other end. And that's Botha out of a race. He actually retires cars back in the pit, so he retired. Just got the back end of it, where the car had no whole nose was missing. He was going slow again. But as we caught it, looks like he went from one barrier to the other, which is synonymous with rage quitting, crash, whatever you want to call it. But how do I say, whatever happened, he is out of a race. So we're down to 2 LMP2 cars. Of course, a victim just before the start of a race, and of course now Botha crashed out. Gap still growing in front. 18 versus Jug. Jug now coming past the GT cars. Would be Devon, which means Gavpeak is the next person. Okay, you can see the Gavpeak and the Judge still battling. Oh, and Gavpeak again. Contact. Where's contact? Gavpeak ran into the Judge. I'm sure there's going to be some words on it in that party chat. but one kind of felt it was coming. I predicted it already just looking at it earlier. Gaffbeek, not the most patient guy. They are back on it again, and again Gaffbeek is there at the back. Trying on the outside, Judge is fending over the inside again. Can Gaffbeek contain himself at least? As you can see there on the left, more penalties came up. Interpret also now, as well as Stickman. Stickman's only a second. Chen also got a second further from his 5 seconds at the beginning. Nismak still on 5, which he got at the start. Interpret also just a second penalty. Devon obviously the 5 that he got when the race started there. These two definitely still going at each other. They are at the back now, closing down on Devon. Of course, Devon had that moment. Devon running wide, but obviously also need to get out of the way. Because NLP wants, and a bit of a tweet there. Nicely done. Nicely done by Stickman. He managed just to get out and again showing his lights, and the judge wanted to move to the left when meantime Stickman was already on the left coming. Not sure if there was a rule, but there was a brief mention before the start, lap cars must keep to the right. So that looking on the left, and he did flash light showing his way. But nicely done, he managed to avoid contact there. Of course, always difficult to lap a car or two, especially if they're busy battling. Gaffbeek also now picked up a penalty, which is no surprise. And this is also just a second, but of course that's going to probably get more as this race progresses. Over Judge and Devon again, but Gaffbeek actually fell off now. Judge has got some clear air between him and the pig. If I say some clear air, it's not much, but still, the pig is not his rear bumper like earlier, at least not for now. Devon is in the pit. Tire change. Well, I think so, but it looks like there might be some damage as well because still stationary. Don't see tire changing. The fuel nozzle is out, so there might be some repairs happening there as well. Mon still pushing, making up. Nismak's now also in the pit. Actually getting out already. Of course it's going to be about tire choices. Also who can stretch those stints further. And of course keep it clean. Stay out of, because at the end of the day you want to be there right at the end. Doesn't matter how many places you make now, you can actually lose them all. So endurance, you first need to get there to the end to be able to get some points and stuff. Okay, never mind that. Race feed there on the right side of the screen is not updating. Gaffbeek still again there with a judge, gaining ever bit by bit. Oh, that doesn't sound as happy, going a bit slowly. He's losing time at some, yeah, actually at, quite quickly. Looks like he's falling back quick. Obviously just at the pit stop. Unless he just went slightly, that brief moment where he went off track. Maybe the damage to the contact with the bump, with the barrier was more severe than what it looked like on the footage. Just keep an eye on that later. Judge still keeping his car ahead of Gaffbeek. Of course, some distance between them and the cars in front. Dirk, of course, fighting back after that early pit stop. "25 minutes into this race, another 2.5, just over 2.5 hours to go. Turbocycle just being lapped now there with what looks like Stickman, yeah. It looks like Jeritamon is now also on him to come lap him, or at least get past him. There we go, Jeritamon gets past him. Of course, he is in the faster car. Those LMP2s are faster than the GTEs. No point in interpret fighting that car. Of course, next down the line we Mario is of course still ahead there. Mario is still the #1 car for GTE. Because that car catching him is that LMP1 car Stickman that's coming around to lap. Of course, which is followed by Jeritamon in the LMP2. Oh, huge moment there for Marius, goes wide and into the sand trap. Stickman to come through cleanly, no issues. But of course that also would have allowed barriers to close in, and as you can see there from 6-7 seconds, gap dropped down to 2.5 as a result of that. Because last thing you want to see is those faster cars coming down on you into a corner to pass you on a straight. There's Jeritamon just behind Berries. Here we go, passing Berries now. So next is Marius. So yeah, if Berries can maybe get some slipstream here for this car. I know it's a bit far-fetched because that car is pulling away, but maybe, just maybe, he can use this to get closer to Marius. There we go, Marius is about to be passed by Jeritamon. Jeritamon diving on the inside, of course, faster, brakes as well, so he can brake later. That he's through, and now it's those two leading GTE cars with nobody between them. gap between them is now less than 2 seconds, in terms like only seconds down the road from them. So GTE can get interesting very quickly. Of course, despite, of course, bearing in mind if there's some errors, all of that is gone. Let's hope nothing like that happens. I want to see some good racing here. Still there, lonely fifth, about to be passed by Stickman. Well, I was hoping Stickman, but clearly not. It's actually Dirk. Dirk that came past him. Dirk already around again. So I've been saying Stickman, but clearly it's been Dirk all this time. Because I thought it's Stickman because Dirk already went through past a couple of cars. Stickman now 43 seconds behind Dirk, but a whole 1 minute ahead of Chen. Of course, speaking of Chen, he's just 4 seconds ahead of Nismax. Nismax already stopped. Of course, with one cars, 3 of the drivers chose Audi, only Chen decided to go for the Toyota. Here's Max closing the gap, it's now under 4 seconds. We see traffic there, which looks like the Peak's car that. And the Peak is actually ahead of the Judge. The Judge is some 18 seconds behind, so there might have been a small error there. This makes also now past 3 seconds, just over 3.5 seconds behind Chen. Of course, he's on fresher rubber as well, as he did stop. Gap, no gap is a little stable for now. Open up to 4 seconds, 5 seconds actually. So Chen is getting away. Of course, these two also had some good battles towards the end of last season at TNR. Stickman there running a very lonely second place, 43 seconds ahead to, well, so 43 seconds behind the Dirk, and of course a minute, over a minute to Chen. So no cars in sight in front, no car in sight in the rear view mirror. So no pressure there, he can just enjoy himself. Chiritomon now there, already second, guaranteed of second or first, provided he stays in the race, when Bob Lixum retired. Only the 2 LMP2 cars. To be honest, I thought the GTE cars would have had a higher mortality rate. That was my prediction, but actually it's the LMP2 cars that actually lost a few drivers along the way. Of course, Raptor with that disconnect just before the start, and Bob Lixum with retirement. Interpret Striker still there, 4 seconds between him and Berries. That Gap was 4 seconds a little early as well with him. Gap peak 56 seconds behind him. Of course, Barry's staying in touch now with Marius. Where that small error Marius made when that faster LMP1 car came past, that allowed Barry's to gap, and he actually kept that gap. It didn't open up again. Where you can see both of them in the same shot. Okay, now that gap opened up a little bit there. Like Ritomon is catching not Sebastian ever so slightly. Chen now behind Nurse Max. Don't think there was a stop. I didn't see any pit stop notifications. Might be an error. Oh, and okay, as I say that, then you saw what just happened. So, yeah, it's just maybe Chen out braking himself, and of course affecting his lap times, which is why Nurse Max would have gained and ultimately passed him. And now the judge is actually at the back, behind Devon. Ooh, the post doesn't look that good. Yep, definitely signs there of some backing it with other cars or the wall. "53 seconds behind Devon. Gap peak a minute ahead of Devon, 55 behind Interpret Striker. Just moving over there for the faster LMP1 car to come past, which in this case I think is actually Stickman. There we go. So keeps on extending the gap there, 48 seconds now. Didn't grow as quickly the last couple of laps. Stickman just with him a little bit, and Jack obviously coming in for his first stop. Give you some cockpit view. Whoever drives on cockpit view versus pretty much AC. There's a small window that you have to do it through. You can also see the fuel intake. Give you an idea of what fuel strategies, of course, is being used. I'm not going to mention it because certain drivers listen to the stream to get some input. Okay, lollipop is lifted but the car is still stationary. But again, what you see on the stream and what they actually see is not. Of course, it can also be that he just took a small quick break there, fill up the glass, got something to snack on. have to do all of that on the go, so while the car's in the pit, you take a few extra seconds just to get that done. Of course, now 3 seconds behind Stickman, but Stickman still have to stop. The race definitely unfolding very nicely for Dirk, but still 2 hours and 20, just over 2 hours 20 minutes to go. Jim 10 seconds now behind Nismax. Of course, not Sebastian in that LMP2 car, 2.5 minutes behind. Jim actually up to Marius with the first GTE car. Marius had opened up that gap to Barry's again to 6 seconds. Interpret in the meantime did close down Barry's. Barry's also slight a gap again to Marius. Won't be surprised if these 3 guys are actually going to be right by each other at some stage during this race. It's pretty much a three-way race at the moment for that first place in GTE, and they are behind each other. Of course, further back the gaps are bigger. Gap pick over a second behind Interpret Striker. Devon, of course, is a minute. Minutes there, not seconds. So Devon Ali's is actually gap pick with another corner cutting moment as he comes into the pits. Here we go, followed by the LMP1 car as well. One stays out, one is coming into the pits. That is Stickman, of course, gained the lead. You can see from this angle, Jeff picked just a little further down. Capic's on his way. Stickman is also ready to go. He's doing the same here as Jack did. 1 more second, he just probably also just filling up a glass. There we go, and he's on his way again. Nasbak's now getting away from Chen. Gap last time when we were for these two were 10 seconds. Now it's open to 17 seconds. But of course now it's also becoming a bit challenging. As you can see, the shadows are getting bigger and bigger as the sun sets further. course, we getting ready for the night stage of this race. As much as being Jerito Monve. Jerito, of course, catching not Sebastian there. Not Sebastian, I think, has stopped. Yeah, gap came down massively, so there had to be a stop. But they pretty much out of sync with that early stop of Chiritomon. And I do this. So that gives you an idea there how much fuel is still left in that car, if you look at that one there. But yeah, I'm just going to briefly show it. Interpret striker 3 seconds behind. He's also 4 seconds behind Marius, so these three is pretty much there. The whole race so far they've been like that. And looks like we're coming out. Because you want to have that car fixed, we need these headlights. As I said earlier, sun is setting, night time is coming. You want those lights, because without those lights it's tough. Gap pick over a minute, almost approaching the 2-minute mark between him and the judge. Devon is 3 seconds ahead of the pig, about to be lapped by the. But I must say, looking at both Gafpeak and Devon, they both chose the Ford GT, but it doesn't look like any of them are very comfortable with it. The guys in the Porsches looked a lot more happier with their car as Morris in that Aston. Here we go, just want to give you this angle so everybody can feel what the drivers are seeing. Of course, this is pretty much racing driver experience in real life, in the cockpit, driving into that sun. To come on in the pits now. Okay, Marius did open up a gap again to him and Berries, hovering there between 4 and 6 again. Interpret also lost a little bit of time to Berries, hovering there 3-4 seconds. But again, not train smash, not something major, because Marius now in the pits. So this will allow these two to come past him at least for now. One of the LMP1 cars also just came out of a pit. Jen is also in the pit. There's Mari still in the pit. Gavpik also in the pits again. That was not a very long stint. So I can only assume there was damage involved. And we lost Dirk. Dirk is out. I haven't seen that, which I can assume was only a disconnect. No people are experiencing internet issues. A lot of people last 2 days. Of course, last night, this morning, we found out about that cable again breaking. Might be a different cable or different spot. Just had that cable connecting us to Europe. Just had it fixed earlier this year. Now just to break again, so it's also affecting the connections again. So I'm not sure if Dirk had a crash or he actually disconnected. I missed that. And it's not like for other games like F1 for argument's sake where you see Dirk left the session. So I missed that. My apologies. But how it may, Dirk is our first victim of the LMP1 class is Dirk. So Stickman now is actually leading the race. With Nismax of 34 seconds behind, with Chen over a minute behind him. And then of course you got the two LMP2 cars, not Sebastian, Cherito Mon. And then of course further down all 6 GTE cars are still in it. Beres at the moment first car there, but of course he still have to pit. Followed by Triple Striker, Marius, who did just stop now a few moments ago. Devon currently in 9th, Gavpik in 10th, with a Judge in 11th. Almost 2 minutes behind Gavpik. Lights are on, he definitely got some light, so he will be able to see things when it gets darker. Of course, much dark already, but it's going to be full night soon. And I do understand there is dynamic weather as well later, so there's even the chance of possible rain. Of course, everybody who knows Le Mans, you normally get rain some way or the other, maybe late afternoon shower or maybe in the evening. Rain in the dark is not easy. Not last season, the previous season with TNR, we also had a race where we did day-night at Monza, yeah. And it turned out there was pretty much rain coming at night. It was all good, just like this. Sunset was dark, nice. Then the rain came. Of course, the rain was followed by heavy mist. It's pretty much like last year's blank paint race GT3 cars there at Monza. Same type of conditions. Misty, you hardly can see the car in front of you, and wet. Of course, this is one thing that we do love about this game, because it's so much more real. The weather simulation, the cars, everything is just so much better than other type of games out there. Of course, that LMP car coming past the judge, I assume obviously that is Nismax looking at that rear left brake light not working. Yeah, there we go. Just confirmation it is him. So left rear brake light, actually both the one on the wing and on the car. Not Sebastian, still going strong there. course, one thing, just coming back to Jock, if that is the case, of course, one thing that we don't like about this game, that is obviously where we pretty much love F1. F1, of course, if you disconnect during a race, you can actually rejoin and reclaim your car and continue your race. Of course, you might have lost a few places while the AI had your car, but the important thing is you can come back and you can actually continue racing. Downside about project cars, that's something you can't do. Once you disconnect, you're out. There's no way you can come back and reclaim your car. Would have been nice, because then these guys could have still been part of the endurance race, the likes of Raptor and Jock. But he's still out in front of Marius. Still no sign of him pitting. Well, Paul, you might see changes, because I obviously heard and a couple of guys talking about it. Project Cars Free. Of course, Slightly Mad Studios being bought by Codemasters last year. So maybe these guys can talk to each other, because there's actually things that Codemasters can learn from them. And of course, things that they can learn from Codemasters, like what I just said. If you disconnect, you should be able to connect again and reclaim your car and continue your race. And that's ideally what you want, especially with the endurance race. Because now imagine you disconnect with less than an hour in, 2 good hours that you could have had is gone. Yes, Jock was gone until that happened. Would be nice, of course, if he could reconnect and claim his vehicle. Well, that would be nice also. Of course, the set of course are coming to PS. Hoping this whole coronavirus effect on the world is not delaying that in any way. Because it's around June, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I know a lot of guys were talking about it, especially the Project Cars guys. Everybody is mentioning making the swap to ACC. I believe there might be bigger grids, but let's hope they also have that option. If you disconnect, you can actually connect again and reclaim your vehicle, because obviously with the internet nowadays, disconnect is a reality, and once you disconnect, it's over. And it's only F1 that I know that is actually allowing you to connect and reclaim your vehicle. But I believe Assetto Corsa will be nice, because it's also pretty much like this, if not better. Obviously waiting to see once that Project Cars Free game comes, how that's going to be. Obviously that's probably only be a PS5 type game. Not going to see it before PS5 is out. And Barry still not having any intentions of stopping. Approaching the hour mark. Just have a look. He will have to stop soon. Of course, the GTEs don't use as much fuel as those LMP1s, because the engine size, the bigger the engine, the more juice is needed. This one cars which obviously is Stickman now. Stickman coming around now. He's gonna lap him, just flashing some lights, showing his way. But of course, Barry's kept to the left, to the right. I mean, he kept his side. Nicely done, allowing the faster car through without any issues. Nesmax might have stopped over a minute now behind Stickman, and the gap to Chen is less than a minute. Yeah, he stopped because now all 4 lights are working again at the back, so there was some repair work. Oh, Chiritoman in the pits again. Not as long of a stint as he had between his first stop and the second stop. But of course, if you pick up damage and it slows you down when you have to pit. But he's now falling back even further to not Sebastian. Gap now is pretty much like 5 minutes. So that also can be where he picked up damage. But he wasn't stationary that long unless he just short fueled for previous time. But however it may be, he's on his way. Because you see a lot of red there on the left hand. All of those guys got penalties. Only 3 of them are still penalty free, which is not Sebastian, Chiritomon and Berries. And just to give you more detail on that, here we go. Stickman is on the 11 seconds. Nesmax still on the 5, which he got on the very first lap at the start of the race. Jen is now also on the 11 seconds. Marius second. Interpret Striker is second. Devon is still on the 5 seconds that he got at the start as well. Judd 2 seconds. Gav Peak with 3 seconds. I must say I'm surprised with a Peak. I expected more penalties from him by this time, but only 2 seconds, 3 seconds. No suggestion of rain, at least for this time. Still clear skies. Depending on the setting, when the lobby was created, maybe some rain in the morning part of this race, if there is any rain coming. Berries now have stopped. Marius back in first place, GTE class. Gap pretty much there at the 8 second mark, as more or less where it was before. 6, 7 seconds, even lower at one stage. That's pretty much the gap that was between Berries and Marius this whole race so far. An Interpret Striker still there as well. 3 seconds behind him and behind Berries. So again, Interpret, Berries and Marius are still staying close to each other, like they've been doing the majority of this race. Of course, we're now over the hour mark, just under 2 hours to go. Oh, looks like Gafbeek is making his way to the pits again. Let's see what happened this time. But yeah, he's into the pits again. Judge is being passed here by Chen. Of course, the GTE cars we will all see on track. Just look for the yellow lights. The rest of the cars, the LMP 1s and 2s, have a signature white light. Veritamon now 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes behind, not Sebastian. Chen 52 seconds behind Nismax. Nismax obviously almost 2 minutes behind Steekman. As it is now, this is pretty much his race to lose. Just need to keep his cool, keep his head in the game and focus. So easy to lose focus in this type of position where there's no car in sight. Obviously dark, night skies. Just now to stay focused and make sure he doesn't run into any trouble. Of course, if there's no cars nearby, there's still the barriers if it can catch you out. One small mistake, miss a braking spot and you will run straight into them. And now only not Sebastian and Berries without penalties. No battles at the moment, only close calls. He's pretty much interpret striker, Berries and Morris. Those guys are the closest to each other and has been the whole race. funny, I actually wanted to say I don't expect Gaff Peak to stay in this race for very long. Once he didn't have the most penalties, but he had the most pit stops, and I actually expected him not to stay in this race because things are going wrong. Obviously he's losing his cool, and as I wanted to say that, I actually saw he left. So there's another driver gone, so we got our first fatality, if you want, our first retirement for, well, probably him rage quitting or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, we got our first car out of GTE that's no more. So 5 GTE cars remaining. Of course, 2 of LMP, 2 which has been pretty much the majority of the race, and then 3 still remaining being LMP1. You would have noticed here on the screen a few drops, so that rain is coming. So my initial prediction was right. Actually, late night, here comes the rain. Of course, still just a few drops here and there. Nothing to get worried about this yet. Of course, as this increase in those guys will have to change strategies, get onto wet tires. As you can see now as well, looking there at the sky, there's definitely some clouds where earlier it was clear skies. It shows you how quick weather can change. Devon being passed there. It looks like actually Interpret Striker probably in the Porsche. Yeah, of course it's because Berries is in the Porsche and Interpret Striker in the Porsche, and of course the Judge is in the Porsche. Interpret Striker still there 5 seconds behind Berries. Berries is 4 seconds, yeah, so it's pretty much again 4 seconds either way. So these 3 guys are keeping it pretty much an hour 15 minutes in, and they still, like they had when we started, these 3 staying close to each other. Of course, now with the Peak retiring, 10 cars remaining, and the only one with no penalty. I wanted to say only one, but it's actually still the 2 of him. It's still Berries and not Sebastian, who's not showing any penalties there on the left. Not Sebastian being passed by Chin. Not Sebastian just showing him some lights there, telling me to bugger off. Now you see again this section of the track, you see some drops there on the screen. So it's not all over as yet, only a few drops. Cherichaman in the pits again. We'll lose even further time into not Sebastian. There we go, Cherichaman just some fuel. Tires. Probably a quick pit stop of his own. Of course, it's no easy feat to sit for 3 hours and just play continuous. Saying that, some of these guys here actually did 5-hour endurance races. Some of them even went so far as 12 hours. I know the likes of Chen and Devon did a 24-hour endurance race where they actually did, obviously, stints, allow one to sleep, and of course the other one drive. If I say 24 hours, I mean 24 hours real lifetime. It might have been actually with a few of the other guys here as well. Not sure who was all in there in the end. But yeah, some of these guys do love that endurance. One thing of course which I liked about Gran Turismo back in the day when that was still the racing simulator game, especially with Gran Turismo 2 when you had those endurance races, and at that stage I think there was also like a 24-hour race, or you know what you have to do in real time. Jimon on his way there. Closing in on not Sebastian, who is in the pits. But of course that gap is not a true reflection. One just came out of the pits, one went into the pits. We'll have to wait till both are on track again. See, not Sebastian's got his wipers on, so I'm not sure if that rain might actually be harder than what we think. Max managed to close the gap actually to Stigman, but it can also be that Stigman has stopped. A little earlier it was just under 2 minutes, now it's at the 1 minute mark. Stigman actually just pulling away again from Nismax. Okay, just for the sake of honest, of course it is 3 different classes: LMP1, LMP2 and GTE. Of course the LMP1 cars is up front, also the faster cars. So first in that class of course is Stigman. He's obviously showing in the number 1 spot as well, so overall leader is Stigman first in his class. And then not Sebastian is the leader in LMP2 and Marius is the leader in GTE. Actually, as I say that, no, I correct myself. Interpret Striker actually is in front now. Interpret is in front of Marius. So Interpret Striker is leading GTE at the moment. 3 cars remaining in LMP1, 2 cars in LMP2 and 5 cars in GTE. Interpret Striker now coming into the pit, so surely that will allow Berries and Marius through, because Berries is now also ahead of Marius. So if Marius made a small mistake there, maybe getting a bit tired. Of course, Interpret, Berries and Marius has been there right with each other the whole race so far. It would be sad if one of them was now fall out or lose time to the other 2. The longer the 3 of them stay together, the better for us as spectators. A nice battle to see. The judge right only 10th at the moment. You see more and more drops, but still not at rapid speed. You just see it in more shots now, different places on track. Nesmax in the pit. Stickman also pitted because that gap came down. So pretty much, yeah, Nesmax and Stickman for the front. We'll see the true gap once Nesmax is out of the pit and on his way. He's got his wipers on, so that rain might actually be a lot harder than what we think. Because we saw Not Sebastian a little earlier in the pits as well with his wipers on. So maybe it's just a little bit worse than what we anticipated on track. Of course, again, as I said earlier, what we see on the stream, what they sometimes see on the track is not 100% the same. Okay, this side looks like it's a bit more wet on track there. Yeah, gap between Stickman and Nesmax is at the 120 mark. Ten 50 seconds behind Nesmax. Of course, 4 minutes up the road to Not Sebastian. Chen coming in for a stop as well. Had a bit of a ding somewhere, only that one light is working. No, he don't have wipers on. But you can see more and more drops forming on the screen. Also going for tire change. There we go. Actually, there's confirmation. Wet tire going on. So you can see the slicks coming off. Actually, the groove tire is on, so definitely wet tire is on. So track is definitely wetter than what it shows on our side. Devon also coming into the pits, which I assume will be for the exact same reason. Lots of fuel going in there. Yep, lots of fuel. Definitely tire change was pretty. Pits is getting busier. Not Sebastian now also stopping. Ooh, Not Sebastian very hasty there to get out of the pits. And we lost another driver. Interpret Striker. Interpret Striker is out. Dang it. Exactly what I said earlier. Last thing we want is to lose one of those three guys. So close to each other. more and more opportunity of battling, but unfortunately we're not going to have a freeway battle there. Interpret is out. Perry is now leading GTE, 9 seconds ahead of Marius. Marius, of course, over 3 minutes ahead of Devon. And Devon 1 minute 40 ahead of the judge. So 4 cars remain in GTE, of course, for 2 in LMP2 and 3 remain there in LMP1. We're pretty much at halfway distance. And we lost 4 cars. Of course, the 5th one we already disconnected before the start of the race. Otherwise we would have had 14 cars to start with. Now you can see the rain definitely coming down on different parts of the track. No longer just a few drops on the screen, it's actually pouring down. You can actually also see how that water is forming on the track and the spray behind the cars. Always difficult night time and of course wet, and now if you combine the 2 night and wet together, testing times for the drivers. It's all about who will be able to keep it cool. Still only Paris and not Sebastian with no penalties. And Devon, realizing that the camera's on him, just flashed his lights there. A quick flash. Oh wow, and he actually loses it. Freaky wet conditions. Maybe he just hit a puddle of water there which put him onto the grass. But he's also keeping on the right because he saw a faster car coming through. Maybe just compensated too much, hence he went onto the grass. The judge into the pits. Ooh, that Porsche is not looking that good. Doesn't even look like there is so much of a windscreen left to have wipers on. Can actually see through that car into the cockpit. Speaking of which, let's do this. There we go. That cockpit, that windscreen looks shattered. Obviously just cracked big time, but still there. Looking at these cockpit views, looks like daytime is not that far away. So the night stint is not that long, which I think some guys will actually be relieved of, to have some daylight again. But of course now with the rain falling, there's also the possibility of mist, so we will have to wait to see what happens when the sun comes up, of course. And if this rain might not actually continue through the second day stint of this. Of course, earlier I said, I spoke about the F1 versus PC when it comes to lobbies, rejoining cars, etc. Because one thing I do like about this setup is actually how you can choose and set up the time progression from day to night, wherever, etc, etc. Because that you don't have in the likes of a GTS or a F1. Because F1 you don't see endurance racing is pretty much hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most. Of course that is your time limit for an F1 race, 2 hours. It's either the laps or 2 hours depending on which comes first. So you don't really see that type of thing, hence you won't see it on the F1 game. But Gran Turismo can still learn from Project Cars in the sense of setting this up. Always nice if you can have endurance race that go from day to night with a bit of weather elements, because Gran Turismo you have endurance racing but no dynamic weather. You could either have wet or dry. But yeah, it also shows you how games evolved, because a couple of years ago we would have only dreamt about being able to experience this in a game. Mario is now some distance behind Berries, 35 seconds, so if things are as it is now, looks like Berries are pretty much having GTE. It's going to be the class winner here. Of course, our 20 minutes to go. And team, he's still going to have to do some hard work to make sure that actually wins the class. Devon with a very, very lonely 8th place. 3 minutes, more than 3.5 behind Marius. Almost 3.5 ahead of Judge. Ooh, runs wide. Of course, tricky conditions now, not the easiest. And of course, in that busted windshield of a Porsche of a Judge. Okay, but a quick shout out to Mrs. Judge if you're watching. Last time she was watching, he actually won the race there at TNR. Of course, the Judge also net problems. Joined at the very last moment. He was in doubt for this race. Also did not get a lot of practice in like some of these other guys did. Some of the guys had like a 3-hour practice session, never mind, so it's endurance practice, same as the race time. Judge, one of the guys who didn't do any practice, so he's still running in it, he still lasts longer than some other guys. Be passed again by the P1 car. Lots of spray now, as you can see behind the P1 car. Lots of water on the track. You can see how it's actually shining in the light. Of course, watching endurance race like this live is an experience. Some of us had the privilege to be part of the Kailami 9-hour last November. Also happened, obviously race started at 1 PM. finished at 10. And also, funny enough, the clouds were threatening. Came sunset, no rain as yet, and then all of a sudden came nighttime, dark skies, rain came down and came down in full glory, so much so that there was even talks about stopping the race prematurely. But yeah, it is something to experience live. If you ever get the opportunity to go watch a race like this live, I suggest you do so. Of course, the WEC also have Kailami on their calendar for next year. Of course, WEC is these LMP cars. Of course, let's just hope everything still takes place, and that next year, this time, we actually have normal circumstances and not lockdowns like all over the world at the moment. For all you guys in lockdown, it's not lekker. You almost feel like you're under house arrest, sitting at home the whole day. But it is for everybody's best will, because some people unfortunately can't help themselves. They need somebody to be strict to help them on their behalf. And yet with lockdown, I saw several people still went out, ventured the streets and just went on with their normal ways. Some of them actually a little bit more silly than others, like a cyclist deciding to cycle on the highway. You know you're not allowed to go out, and yet you do it on a highway where everybody can see you. Or the people that went for a swim in a public place. Yeah, so some people just can't listen. They will never listen, and they can't see the seriousness of this matter. Ooh, a big shunt there for Nismax. I just saw him actually, it's almost like he was heading for the camera, aiming to take the camera out, and made contact with the barrier there. Luckily it was just more the side of the car, not the front. 1 hour 16, day is definitely breaking. The night stint is not that long. But still, rain is not easing off. Still in that Denso Toyota, of course hybrid power. Looking at the Audi and the Toyota looks so much smaller. Ooh, that looks like Jerito, man. Yes, indeed. Big moment for him where he spun. Had to wait obviously for Chen to come past before he could get himself back onto track facing the right direction. Of course, as you can see there from that shot, some info signs on the side, lots of lines. Obviously this is a public road. Well, if Le Mans doesn't take place, this is a public road. And also what I heard before, obviously we all know it's a long track, but it's kind of like 3 different tracks made up into one. But as I say, this part of this track is public road, so that main section where the main stand is, where the pits are, that's obviously part of the racetrack, because that's permanently there. But of course this back end section is more like into the countryside. Still remains one of the more pretty tracks, challenging, long. Of course, who does not like Le Mans? But unfortunately we're going to have to wait this year, because it has been postponed. Let's see if it's going to take place, because I foresee a lot of our sporting events, especially racing, not going to take place this year. Now seemingly a lot lighter. Ooh, Jurito Mon battling, but managed to keep it together. Got a GTE car there behind him. Of course, that predominant yellow light that shows you it's GTE. Berry's actually opened up the gap further to Marius. GTEs just look so relaxed compared to the other guys. But in fact, it's actually going fast. Just another LMP car to come around to pass berries. Because they lap a lot faster than the GTEs, that's why they are lapping them so quickly. It's all about that engine size difference. They definitely braking. It almost looks like there's a bit of sunlight coming through, but still rain not easing off. I guess it's still better than having mist on top. Could have been worse. Sometimes these night rainy races going into day, they tend to be mist. Gap closing slightly in front. Nismax chasing down Stickman. Just want to see what's the update on penalty wise. Nismax still just on 5, which he got right at the start. Chen still sticking on 11. Stickman is on 12. Timman still only that second. Marius is second. Devon got 1 second extra. He had 5 at the start already. The judge still in 2 seconds. Of course, just shows you the amount of laps already done. Of course, the LMP car is already 31 laps. Then about to finish his 31. Then the LMP2 cars like 3 laps down. And then the GTEs are actually only 4 laps, so not much between the LMP1s and the GTEs, but still, of course, that speaks to the difference in speed between the classes. Because also the acceleration on those LMP1 cars is so much quicker. Gap closed a little bit more. Bit of lag there, almost looked like the car was gonna roll around the corner. I'm sure the judge feel very lonely at the back. But surely the drivers also welcome daylight. Nice bright sunshine there at the back, but still rain is with us. Not going anywhere. Might not be continuing for that long. It might start raining soon. But then again, if you get to a different part of a track, then you see the grey sky still. The gap did stabilize at 40 seconds now between Marius and Berries. From that shot, just briefly there, you could definitely see some light coming through. But yet, the rain is persistent. But on some parts of the track, it looks like it is raining lighter. Don't see a lot, that much spray behind the cars. Believe me, it's still wet. But it doesn't look as bad as on other sections of the track. Very briefly there, it looked like it's more damp and having lots of puddles. Maybe just a matter of time when we can have a dry race. Marius have lost some time again with two barriers. Just as I said before, it's a bit stable at 40 seconds. It actually opened up to 43. So Barry's is actually where he wants to be and he's controlling it. But there you can see huge spray from behind the car. Of course, just the earlier shot at a different section of the track, you didn't see that much spray behind the GTE. But you're definitely showing it's still raining heavily on certain sections of the track. Standing water, of course, in some places. It's so easy to aquaplane. LP1 car coming again. Stigman is in the pit. Stigman is in the pit, so this is Nismax. But Nismax is also going to come into the pit. Because only the two Addies left, Stigman and Nismax. Chen in the third LMP1 car, of course, is in the Toyota. Just staying here with Barry a little bit longer. But then again, now looking at the same section we just had a few laps ago, we actually see more spray. So that was maybe either the rain did slow quite down a bit and then started getting heavy again, or it was just the shot that actually played tricks on us, because now that spray in that same section looks a lot heavier than what it was a lap or two ago. Not Sebastian still keeping his composure there. 5 minutes to determine. Only the two of them remaining in LMP2. 5-6 minutes ahead of not Sebastian is Chen, but of course Chen in the faster car, the LMP1 car. It looks like Nismax actually jumped Stickman with that pit. That pit stop, yes, because he made a quicker stop, he actually is in front. There's Stickman. But Stickman not that good, and actually as I say that, the gap is just keep on increasing. Stickman is going slow. There's some problems here. Not sure if he took a knock somewhere, or if I'm not sure if that actual jump was in the pit. It can be that he actually came out of Max, and there might have been some mistake. It looks like there can be damage on this car, hence it's going so slow. One decent enough impact can actually cause the engine not to perform. We saw it obviously this on GTS as well. The more damage your engine actually takes strain and it doesn't perform, you need to crawl back to the pits. And as I say, crawl back, gap is now open to 20 seconds, and it keeps growing. Get into cockpit. It's not really doing excessive speeds there. The rain seems a little bit lighter from this angle, but see how wet that track is. Gap now open to 31 seconds. This makes getting away further and further. No, definitely stricken car here. Unless he might have forced the game to take a quick break, and this is AI, and this is the speed that you do when you do that. Because your AI also don't do the same speed as you. I don't see any damage on his car to indicate why he's going this slow. But Nismax is also into the pits. Yeah, Nismax also stopping again. Not sure if these two maybe had a come together. But Nismax at least went faster. He passed him when he got to the pits already. Stickman is still on his way to the pits. Because surely he's got a pit, there's no way for him to stay out. Unless it is that AI as I mentioned, which I doubt. Yeah, Stickman is coming to the pits. Definitely some issues with the car. Ooh, didn't even attempt to take that corner. Went straight on over the gravel. Nismax is on his way again, just as... Okay, there we go. That explains also him going over the sand. That explains him going over the sand and not making that corner. Stickman is out. That was definitely him choosing to retire. No disconnect there, no crash. That was him having enough. Obviously a bit of an error there. Obviously frustrated, upset with himself. Chose to quit, and that's the end of that. So 2 cars now in LMP1, just as 2 cars in LMP2, and we got 4 cars remaining in GTE. Nismax now you inherited the lead, 1 minute ahead of Chen. and we're under an hour to go. 57 minutes, 57 and a half minutes to go. Then this race is done and dusted. Must say this last 2 hours went quite quick. Just going to keep it with a race leader for now. Just going to take a short break, because talking for 3 hours is a bit tough on the throat. But that will also give you time to just do the car sound. and Ritamon is the next guy out, and now he actually driving into other people. You would have noticed that he had no damage, and then got out of the way of a faster LMP1 car. As he got out of the way of that car, he actually made contact with a barrier which pretty much took away the nose. Performance and of course how that car handles. So missing a few corners, driving is like he's actually busy destroying this car rather than taking it back to the pits for repairs. Yep, cutting through corners there. And a quick moment ago also saw a contact he made with Audi, which can only be Nismax because sole remaining Audi with Stickman dropping out. Audi also have damage, but some of that was there already. Somehow he did still open up a gap to Chen, because Chen closed him down as Nismax had to stop again. No, definitely not a happy camper. He's just now destroying that car. Not sure why people still do this. Why don't you just rage quit if you don't want to continue? Oh, that car's wheels doesn't even want to turn anymore. That car is completely destroyed. Surprised he's still going. Rain has also stopped. I see wipers still on there. The rain has stopped. Some of the tracks are a lot drier, some of the parts of the track. Still here and there puddles, as you can see there. Maybe just a little too quick to go to slicks again. And there's a car approaching. And that's actually not Sebastian, came past unscattered luckily. Always scary when you approach a car like this. And if it's going to make contact with you like Nismax found out a little while ago. Had a good race, a couple of mistakes up front. Not that much, not something major. Of course he had to do a early pit stop. One of the early stoppers which actually put him back, and when he fought his way back and brought it back all the way to second until this now. And only 45 minutes left. More race. Did all the hard work, why not rather getting it back to the pits? Now throwing away what you've achieved so far. Just putting up some spray there just to show how wet it's still on track. Of course on the grass you don't get that spray. Looks like he's mowing the lawn. Car approaching, luckily he keeps it on the grass. As I said, he actually rejoins the track just for a brief moment, very short distance from that car that just passed. Is he actually going to make it to the pits, and if he does, is he actually going to be stationary for repairs, or is he just going to quit? Surely that's one LMP2 car bug beyond repair. Also like Stickman did when he came in, don't bother making the corner, went straight over the grass, over the sand. Actually got it to the pit box, still there. Of course, unless that him driving into barriers and stuff, it was just him trying to get the car back to pit. Instead of going slow and nursing it back, he just went all out and did what the car allowed him to do. Long stop obviously, because a lot of repairs to be done here. This Max almost 2 seconds, 2 minutes ahead of Chen. Still a lot of spray coming up. Even before. Little more still stationary. Will it pop us up? Because I was saying with Nismax, it is, sun is brighter, you can actually see, but in the sky there, no clouds like before. Here and there a cloud, but not much. Blue skies, but track's still drying out, still a lot of spray being kicked off by these cars. The little one still sitting in the pit. That's about a lap on him as well while he's in the pit. And Barry's now actually passed him on track. GTE car now in 4th place. Mario's a long way off now. Barry's definitely, unless something seriously go wrong for him, he will be the winner of GTE. Toritamo still sitting in the pit. And we have 40 minutes to go. Of course, that Aston also showing signs of damage there. That will also explain why he is now 2 berries. For the majority of the race it was only like 5-6 seconds between them. And Jeritamon actually on his way. Well done. I must actually applaud you for that. Make it to the pits, sitting patiently, going out again. A lot of guys would have actually destroyed it or rage quit or whatever, like we actually saw earlier in the race. Well done. I really applaud you for that. DQ. Sorry, Stuart, which car were you? give me some more details for you what happened? You perhaps Stickman, that explains why from actually first place all of a sudden no more. Because unfortunately it's not like F1 where it pops up at the bottom showing so and so was disqualified or so and so has left the session. You don't really see that. Something also that they can improve on in this game. Juritamon still on his way. From what it initially looked like him destroying the car, it was actually him going to the pit. He stood there patiently, let him do the repairs, and he actually went out. So of a lot of drivers that would have rage quitted by then. I've seen people quitting for less than that. Juritamon now catching berries. Of course, there's no way that Porsche will stay ahead of it, Ligier. At least that's what I hope Juritamon's got. Of course, class difference, speed between the cars. So if Juritamon keeps it clean, he will definitely get back into 4th place. He's still second in LMP2. Not Sebastian in the pit. We can actually catch these guys. He can actually. Now I was thinking that if one can catch these guys, but there's still some distance to go. Maybe just get one lap down. Just unlap yourself with one lap. That's a bit of a tough ask. Look at where he is. Less spray. He's definitely drying. Last 25 minutes or so might be dry conditions again. Not sure. There we go, he's on his way now. Yeah, it looks wet in the pit, but of course you don't see a lot of traffic coming through here and at the speed that they do on track. So the displacement of the water here is not as what it is on the track itself. And Juritamon actually manages to unlap himself with one lap. But obviously it's not that far. Not that far yet. Might be a matter of time before he gets lapped again. Nesmax now in the pit, which might be his final stop. I think it might be dry enough for him to attempt slicks. Looks like he's not taking tires, just fuel. Yeah, but also if you look at what the pit lane looks like, all that spray, and it's still wet in still patches, so it's not a bad idea staying out on it. Last thing you want to do is to get onto the slicks too early and then you mess up your race. We had 2 race leaders that actually got jinxed, who left the race from first place. Definitely dry here in this section, but as I say that, you can see some spray coming up again. and then heavier spray. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. Now it's just to spot the right time to put on the slicks. So not coming in, at least not yet. The judge still staying patient, leaving in last place. Well, last place being 8. With all the cars obviously we lost. Also a guy that's patient. Given all the mishaps he had, he's still in there. Firstly, he enjoys it too much to just quit. Definitely some more spray coming out there, and if you look at the track, it doesn't justify it. But here now a section where it's actually dry, no spray really seen from the back of a car. Of course, when you get into a section again where there's spray, still a little too early to go onto full slicks. Sounds like that Ford's also not going at top speed. Marius about to be lapped again, but he comes into the pits. Looks like so is Devon. Marius was coming around to actually lap Devon. Actually, second car in GTE actually comes around to lap third place car in GTE. Oh wow, and you just drive through the mechanics as if nothing happens. If only it was like that in real life. Half an hour to go. Almost there. Just seen one car, looks like it's driving, you change to another car and there's still spray being thrown up in the air. But of course, if you look at how the track has dried out, how long will this wet tires last in these conditions? because you obviously need water to keep them cool so they don't weigh that quick. So that sector's got a lot of water still being thrown up in the air. Jen has brought down the gap a bit. Gap between him and Nismax now 54 seconds. Sure, if it looks like that, Ford has got some damage or some underlying issues, because now that gap is just coming down. 51 minutes, 51 seconds, already like 10 seconds gained by Chen. Might also be that wet tires of his is cooked. Not coming into the pits. Gap now down to 48 seconds. Chen is gaining with a rate of knots. Oh, hello, Daniel, son. Nice to hear from you. Of course, Daniel, one of the regular viewers here on with TNR Racing. Of course, Daniel, also one of the guys that come drive on the odd occasion when he's not working and available. Of course, the time differences between the countries doesn't make it easy. But otherwise, if he's not watching, he's not working, you will probably find him in a lobby with us. Well, Daniel, for us, it's basically been day 2 of quarantine. Our official, ours officially started yesterday, first day. It came into effect at midnight on Thursday evening. So yeah, day 2, everybody surviving. Strange to see the amount of people on your friends list on PlayStation who's online. Everybody obviously playing games to try to keep busy. I believe they bored as hell. But it's pretty much an issue all over the world. This makes just look like that car that tail was just wagging a bit there. But gap is now under 50 seconds to Chen. Just over 25 minutes to go. Oh wow, week 3 already. Which bad, Daniel? Because obviously, yeah, in the state it depends also from state to state. And yeah, of course, now the US actually surpassed China with the amount of total cases. Ooh, and this makes having a big way. Okay, Illinois. Which part of Illinois? Don't tell me Chicago. But yeah, it's bad. 2 deaths here, but they actually downgraded it. It was found that the second death was not corona related. Gap now down to 38 seconds. Chen is still gaining. Also it's 38 and yet Versailles is 35, but the fact remains it's coming down. Last thing Nesmax want to do now is pit again, because if he pits now he might find himself in within a lap or two for the tyres again. But the track definitely a lot drier now. Ha! So it is here, Chicago. Okay. Chicago Blackhawks. My favorite ice hockey team. Of course, for years, everybody, Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. But when it comes to basketball, I'm also a Celtics fan. And not to mention the Lakers. And of course, one of my favorite baseball teams is also in Chicago. The White Sox. But not been doing that great in recent years. "33 seconds now, still coming down. Surely somebody's gonna have to make a dive into the pit soon for dry tires, but as I say that, you can still see some spray coming up. Yeah, I'm not sure, disconnect or guys rage quitting, I'm not sure. Some of them will be rage quitting if you look at issues preceding the actual disconnect. But it is definitely possible for disconnect, because we had one just before the race started. And the last day or so was not the best with internet, and of course that cable out again is not helping the situation. Because last time when that cable was also busted, it also meant bad connections for other guys. Some of them are actually lucky enough, depending obviously on their ISP and what backup plans they have in place. But not everybody's that fortunate. But it's so frustrating being part of a race, especially in a race like this, endurance race, and then just do DC at no fault of your own. Gap came down even further now, 28 seconds. But not Sebastian still throwing up there. And then you get to a track part where it's completely dry. Unless of course they are on dries. We just didn't see complete change like stop from this. It looked like he was still on wet tires. Unless it might have been actual dry tires, not sure. 20 minutes to go. And that gap is dropping further. Jenny is definitely catching. That gap is not stabilizing. Because Audi is not at full speed. Oh, and big impact there. And that will not help us Audi. It brings Chen more and more into play. Nesmax staying out, not coming into the pit. Gap is down to 20 seconds. Just want to see what the time penalties look like between them. Chen on 26. So that might be Nesmax's saving grace at the moment. Because those time penalties still need to be applied at the end of a race. but Nismac surprisingly did well. Got that 5 seconds right at the beginning of a race and no further penalties since then. Just under 3 hours ago. Seems like a lifetime. Rita man in the pit again on his way. Also a lot drier in the pit lane. Almost spraying from up there. The judge still holding on. He's not going anywhere. Also good to see because he was one of those that was affected by internet. He somehow managed to have somebody look at it today given the circumstances, so glad to see he's back online. Devon also there in a lonely 7th place. But of course just keeping all together, make sure he finishes. "18 seconds now between Nismac and Chen, and as I say, that big impact there for Devon with a barrier. Of course the guys would be tired already. 2 hours, almost 45 minutes. Of course continuous racing, 2 hours, 2.25 hours. That's something else. It actually is not for everybody. A lot of people hear endurance and then they go like, no way. But once you're into this, endurance racing is something else. Anything else seems boring. Closest battle now is definitely Chen and Nismac, but Chen also still kicking up spray. Chen just need to keep it clean because you still got that 21 seconds. Okay, 22 seconds now. Because obviously he's 27 minus the 5, Nismac is 22, so 22 seconds. And actually, as I say that, the gap have opened up back to 20 seconds. So with that time penalty, the gap is pretty much 42 seconds between the two of them. So those penalties are coming in to be Nismac's saving grace. And we're under 15 minutes to go. And Chen just having a bit of hard time there to slow down the car into the corner, ran straight. That obviously would have cost him some time as well. Small issues like that actually can cost you in the big scope of things. So Ritoman actually he has fallen further back to Berries. At one stage that gap came down to like 34, 33 seconds. It's over a minute again as it is, so looks like Berries, the first GTE car, will finish ahead of a LMP2 car. Because Barry's kept it clean most of the race, very little mistakes. And that's what matters. Clean, keep out of trouble, make sure you're in the end, and he did all of that. As a result, of course, with just over 13 minutes to go, he is the class leader. Looks like just Jen, yeah, Jen indeed coming to lap him. Oh, this Max made another mistake. From 20 seconds, that gets nicely at 10 seconds, just under 10 seconds, depending obviously on how they progress. Starts for 26, that's 36 seconds. Okay, actually now more 24, because Chen did get another penalty. 24, so that's 34 seconds. Yeah. Chen just needs to keep it clean these last couple of laps. There's at least another 3 laps, maybe 4 laps to go. Oh, and he cuts the corner there a bit. Just makes have open it up again. Kept actually growing at a steady pace. From 9, 10ish, it's all of a sudden 15, 16 seconds again. Ooh, big moment there, but nicely kept together, Cheritamon. Almost looked like he was gonna hit barrier for sure. Mara still got his lights on. Doesn't care if they go out now, he won't need it again, because this race is now 9.5 minutes to go. Still you see spray being kicked up. The track took forever to dry out. Oh, and that gap just came down big time. 5 seconds, it's all there is. Fatigue creeping in, some mistakes setting in. But then just keep getting penalties, so that's not helping. 26, so it's still 33 seconds. At least Nismax are not getting further penalties. Chen coming to lap Devon. Oh wow, Daniel, for old cars, yo. It's like last season we actually did for old touring cars as well. You like this whole idea of old cars, yeah, but the handling and stuff is something very different. But yeah, those old, what was it, 86 Jaguar, 86, 87, that Jaguar, the Mercedes, the Sauber Mercedes, yeah, those cars actually were something else. Thank you, Stiggy, for just verifying that. That also obviously explains as well why you actually went over that soil patch and not around. Locking up, of course, and it was actually tough conditions as well. Oh wow, mevrou Botha. Actually say I've been doing great nie, but at least he's keeping it in front. Weet nie of die branders of die ram 'n bietjie gesels nie. Ja, but he's got time penalties that's gonna hopefully help him. Okay, cool. Thanks, Stuart. Thanks for confirming. Have you also not the first victim there? Saw that before as well. Running out of fuel, you get so into this racing, you forget about looking at the, of course, fuel gauge. And of course, thank you for that. That also explains why you were cruising to the pits, because I was wondering why the slow pace. Normally, you have damage on the car, but of course, looking at the visuals, didn't seem like there was any damage on that car. Thanks for clarifying, Stuart. Ja, verder, jy weet, dit gaan goed, dankie. Nee man, jy is nou net mooi geevol, of jy is excited, of both, want die groot dag is om die draai. Seconds between Nismax and Chen, 4.5 minutes to go. Always nice if the drivers also partake in the chat on the stream to actually also put things in perspective for the commentators. Because again, it's what you see and what actually happens is not the same. It would also be nice if it actually had a pop-up at the bottom that says GQ like what you would get in F1. Chen is trying to do something, but again, there's not going to be enough time to do that 26 odd penalty gap that he's got. That will promote Nesmax back to first place. Speaking of which, actually now more, it's now 34 seconds if you look at the difference between the two. Chen pushing so hard, in the process he's getting more and more penalties. Under 3 minutes to go, so this, unless Nesmax put it in a wall or do something really weird, this is his race. Oh, Nesmax going deep. Chen is going to have a look on the inside. Oh, he made contact there. Looks like he ran into the back of not Sebastian. Nesmax just now need to stay in touch with him. Chen is finally in front, but yeah, Nesmax just need to stay in touch with him, because that penalties will sort out the position. Nicely done there by not Sebastian, just getting out of the way with Nesmax. Realizing he's being lapped here, and these two are battling. Of course, they're battling for position. It's been a while coming, but we finally got a battle. Nesmax staying in a minute with him. Oh, very close there. Could have easily ended up in disaster. Now the judge just trying to stay out of the way here. For a way around him. Oh, he's not trying to get out of the way. He's still taking his line. Holding up his faster cars now. And Nesmax is going to squeeze in, and Nesmax actually passes the judge and he retakes the lead. A minute to go, so they're still going to get one lap in. This is definitely the last lap they're starting now. Under a minute to go, but of course they will complete the lap that they're just starting now. Of course, looking at all the challenges, internet connections, of course things out of driver's control, just to finish a race like this is already an achievement. So it doesn't matter about if you win or not, just finishing it is a big achievement. So well done to everybody that's actually still in this race and who's going to finish it. 5 seconds. And race time is officially over. Just waiting for them to finish this lap. Whenever checkered flag will come out the next time round when we approach the start finish line. The battle between Chen and Nesmax was brief. Gap is opening up to 5 seconds again. Was fun while it lasted. Oh wow, Daniel, now you're going back into time. Big time. Because yeah, those classic cars, those older cars here at Le Mans, yo. Ooh, and that car is just not... Oh, it's just that corner, because a lot of spray still coming up there at this time of the race. So it's just like Nesmax just can't slow the car down enough approaching that corner, and that's actually going to allow Chen again to have another go at him. Because Chen with a much better approach to the corner and actually get away. But again, even if Chen passes him, he still need to make up 30 odd seconds. to cancel out that penalty count. And also well done to not Sebastian and Berries, the only two drivers out of all of them who did not incur any penalties. Of course, we only have a guy who didn't incur a penalty, was Raptor, who never started. Last couple of corners. Here we go, final chicane. Nismac comes around now. Here we go, and Nismac actually takes the win. Well done, Nismac. Tough one. Of course, also a bit of luck coming into play with guys disconnecting and, of course, disqualifications. It's almost like that first place was jinxed tonight. Guys actually disconnecting, retiring, whatever you want to call it, from first place. So, yeah, I for a moment thought that that first place might be a jinx place, and you don't want to be there. But well done to all our finishers, and of course to those two with no penalties after 3 hours of racing, still no penalties. Not Sebastian, of course, brought it back in third overall. Paris is set to do fourth, just waiting for him to come around. Chen shows us in the pits. Of course, he already retired. He said enough is enough. He's not going to do that whole cool down lap, waiting for everybody to finish. Ek dink Laf het bietjie hard gewerk daar, so het bietjie gesweet vanaand. Maar weet sterkte vir julle, ek weet die groot dags om die draai, amper daar. Veral in die tyd soos nou, extra sterkte. Gerito Mon with eventful race, but at least he's still there. Whoa, again, that's just confirmation of what I said just a moment ago with Nismac's there. Tricky corner that, and of course there's still a lot of water actually in that corner, not helping. But of course Gerito Mon's got damage again, and we saw last time around when he had this extent of damage. Car not that easy to handle, not that easy to slow down. And Barry's brought it back in fourth overall. Asseblief Yvette, doen so. Ek glo Dirkie sal ons laat weet sodra die nuweling daar is. Maar ja, tough tye, ek het vir my baas ook, want sy enetjie is nou donderdag gebore, of woensdag gebore althans. Met die tye wat ons nou beleef, het maak dit extra moeiliker vir julle. En of course, soveel goed wat jy nou moet pas op, obviously, om die babiekie te beskerm ook. So dis ek ook sê, sterkte vir julle ouens, maar asseblief hou op hoogte. Well, Dirkie, ek weet nie soveel van ons om hier, but okay, thank you. There was a bit of gaps in between, but yeah, 3 hours, we managed it, we got through together. Just a pity with the disconnect stuff happening, because I feel we were robbed from a couple of battles. We could have had more battles. At the end we had a little bit of a battle there with Jen and yourself, but yeah, I believe we could have had more battles if it wasn't for disconnect internet issues. Marius, of course, here. Marius was for a long time the first car in the GTE class. But of course, also keep in mind it's only 3 hours, but 3 hours it takes a lot out of a driver. Go ask any sim driver, the fatigue still sets in. Yeah, but Jaji also had enough. He knew that's it. He's going to take his 8th place. Just 10 seconds, then all of us is officially over. Oh wow, and I just got a trophy just for doing what I just did. Okay. Right, just confirmation of your 8 finishes. Nizmax, Chen, Not Sebastian, Berries, Chiritamon, Marius, Devon and the judge. Of course, the colors where you would have seen that represent GT, LMP1, LMP2 and GTE. So of course for top 2, only 2 finishes there in LMP1 and also just 2 finishes there in LMP2 from the original starters of 4 each. And then of course just 4 finishes there in GTE. Well, that's it guys, thank you so much for watching. Some of you in and out, some of you watched longer than others, but thanks for the support, thanks for watching. 3 hours is no easy feat. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some more of this, especially now during this time to keep the guys entertained and busy. So till next time guys, have a good one, stay safe, stay indoors, look after yourselves. I hope to see each other on the other side. Cheerio.